This week, the world of AI didn't just take a step forward. It felt more like a giant leap, a complete rewrite of the rules. And we're going to break down exactly what happened. Welcome to The Explainer.
For the longest time, that question felt like something straight out of a movie, right? Well, this week, it stopped being science fiction. A whole new breed of AI tools was unleashed. And that question? It's now our reality. So let's get into what just happened.
To really get why this week was such a massive deal, we first need to understand this fundamental shift, this change in what artificial intelligence is actually becoming.
Okay, so this slide right here, this pretty much sums up the huge leap we just took. For years, we've had chatbots. We all know them. They're reactive. You ask something, they pull an answer from a script. But what's happening now are AI agents. And this is a whole different ballgame. They aren't just reactive, they're goal-directed. They don't just answer you, they can actually take action, use other software, and work through a bunch of steps to get a complex job done all by themselves.
And get this isn't some tiny trend happening in a few labs in Silicon Valley. AI adoption has absolutely exploded. 78% of organizations are now actively using it. That's a huge jump from just 55% last year. So this shift from passive chatbots to active agents, it's happening at a massive scale, right now across the whole economy.
All right, so what is this new breed of AI really? Let's dive into the tech that's making it all possible, because this is where things start to feel like sci-fi becoming fact.
So, an AI agent is basically a system that can plan, use tools, and work on its own to hit a specific goal. I love this analogy. A chatbot is like a librarian. Super helpful, right? They'll find the book you need. But an AI agent, that's like a full-blown research assistant. They don't just find the book, they read it, they understand it, they summarize it, and then they write the whole dang report for you.
So how do they actually pull this off? Well, it's all about this continuous loop. You give an agent a big, complicated goal, and the first thing it does is break it down into smaller, bite-sized pieces. Then it starts using tools. We're talking code interpreters, other apps, you name it, to tackle each piece. And here's the kicker. It checks its own work. It looks at the output, sees if it's getting closer to the goal, and just keeps repeating that process over and over until the job is done.
And OpenAI, seeing where all this is headed, just dropped something huge. AgentKit. Think of it as a complete toolbox for developers to build these agents way faster and, maybe more importantly, more safely. It's got everything from a visual builder for workflows to prepackaged code to speed things up, even built-in safety guardrails. They're not just creating the tech, they're trying to write the rulebook for it.
But hold on, it gets even wilder. It's not just about AI agents doing tasks in our world anymore. Some of these new AIs, they're literally creating entirely new worlds from scratch.
Case in point, this week, Google DeepMind showed off something called Genie 3. And it is just as magical as it sounds. You can give it a single sentence or even just a picture, and boom, it generates a fully interactive, playable 3D world. I'm not talking about a video or a flat image. I mean a world you can actually move around in, conjured out of thin air by an AI.
And then we got what might be the most mind-blowing admission of the whole week. OpenAI CEO Sam Altman just came out and said that their own coding AI called Codex is writing most of their new code. Let that sink in for a second. The AI is now literally building the next generation of AI.
And if you want to know how real that is, remember that AgentKit toolbox we were just talking about? A super complex piece of software? They built it in under 6 weeks. And the reason they could do it that fast is because their AI, Codex, wrote 80% of the code. We are officially in an exponential feedback loop.
Okay, so that's the wild, mind-bending future stuff. But what does this mean for us, like, today? Let's look at a real-world example that just dropped, because it shows how this is already changing the game for creators.
Just this week, Asus and GoPro teamed up. They launched this new AI-powered app called StoryCube, and it's a total game changer for anyone who's ever edited video. It basically automates the most boring part of the job. It connects to your GoPro footage in the cloud, and the AI just goes to work, automatically categorizing everything. This is biking, this is surfing, here's a sunset. Finding the perfect shot now takes seconds, not hours of painful scrubbing through footage.
And that right there is the whole point. What these new tools are really doing is removing the friction, all the heavy lifting and the tedious manual labor that gets in the way of a creative idea. It's not about replacing humans, it's about supercharging our creativity.
Okay, but under the surface of all this amazing innovation, there's a huge shift happening.
A kind of hidden power struggle is brewing between the giants who control this technology, and honestly, it could change everything.
So that raises the big question. Who's really in control here? For years, the answer seemed simple. It was the Microsoft and OpenAI partnership. Microsoft poured in billions, and OpenAI's tech was the engine behind basically all of Microsoft's AI. But the ground is definitely starting to shake.
This slide really lays out the growing tension. On one side, you have the partnership we all knew, that massive, nearly $14 billion investment that seemed rock solid. But look at the other side. That's the competition. Microsoft is now quietly building its own competing AI models and is even testing out models from rivals. It really looks like they're trying to reduce their reliance on OpenAI, potentially moving from being their biggest partner to one of their biggest competitors.
And let's be clear, this isn't just some boring business rivalry. This is a battle for control over the absolute foundational layer of the next technological revolution. Who wins this fight could literally determine the future of AI, how much it costs, who gets access to it, everything.
So, here's the bottom line. We have crossed a major threshold. We're now dealing with AI that can act on its own, build its own tools, and even dream up entire worlds. The question is no longer, what can AI say? The real question now is, what is it going to do next, and who's going to be in charge when it does?
If you want to stay ahead of this insane curve, you're going to want to hit that subscribe button. Because the story we're diving into next week, it's even crazier. Trust me. Thanks for watching.